Hi guys and gals, welcome to Canadian Immigration Channel. From time to time we're asked to verify, to check translations from any other country in the world, to verify formatting of translation. In fact, when I'm saying from time to time, I won't probably lie if I say that I see those documents at least 2-3 times per day. Such requests are coming from all over the world, from Brazil to India and so on and so on. So in this video, let me just give you a brief idea how your translation should look like so they are undoubtedly accepted by immigration to Canada and there will be absolutely no additional questions asked with respect to your documents. Now, before we proceed further, let me just quickly remind you, if you're looking for us to assess your chances for immigration to Canada, click on the link cictv.ca/go and one of our specialists will be able to evaluate your success ratio or rate, if you will, for immigration to our country. Now, going forward for translations of the documents and preparation of those documents so that you are able to use those documents for immigration to our country. When it comes down to immigration through federal programs, you have to have 2 documents. They could be attached together, they could be separate. These documents are certified translation, which is usually notarized or are prepared by one of the members of territorial or provincial organizations certifying and licensing translations in Canada. Or, as I said, it should be notarized. And the second document is the certified true copy. That's the document which is notarized, the notarized copy of your original document. Sometimes they go together as one document if a notary public prepares them. Sometimes they go as 2 separate documents. But in either case, these documents have to be present there. Okay, that is clearly stated on CIC website, that is clearly and explicitly mentioned in officers' manuals, and you have to follow these instructions. Question is from many countries in the world whether or not my translation has to be notarized. Yes, translation has to be notarized. For God's sake, Notary Public has to attest the translation. Notary Public has to attest a copy of your document. So those translations which are prepared in Brazil, in any other country in the world, right, again, like where translator puts their watermark, electronic signature without notarization of those translations, they are not accepted. Sometimes practice tells the different story where officers are kind of, skipping this, but that doesn't mean that this story will be everlasting. And in fact, we have examples where applications were refused because translations were not prepared in time with compliance to the requirements of CIC. Having said all that, mind you that provinces of Canada, they might have different requirements for your translations. Quebec is a separate story, and Quebec has always their own idea how to prepare translations, how to prepare documents, and that has nothing to do with the federal requirements or provincial requirements. Now, other provinces such as Ontario, for example, would require you to have your translation prepared by the member of Association of Translators and Interpreters of Ontario, though the document itself has to be notarized, but apart from that, you also have to make sure that the translation is prepared by ATIO member. Alberta has their own requirement. British Columbia has own requirements. Saskatchewan has the requirements similar to the federal government, but they have their own recommended way of the affidavit of translation, which again has to be notarized, and a copy of your translation has to be notarized as well. And either you do this in your local home country and make sure that Notary Public, not the translator, but the Notary Public, puts a seal on your documents apart from just the translator's signature and stamp, right? Or you do it online, for example, you do it in Canada, but making sure that the translator in Canada is authorized, is legal, and is able to do this job, and Notary Public who is doing this is also knowing what he or she is preparing, right? Otherwise, you might be in a situation and circumstances, as I said, like I see it like literally every single day, either something is not notarized or it's missing or the stamp is missing and so on and so on and so on. Like, again, I do understand that circumstances are, and I personally saw a couple of times where documents were accepted with just the Word version of translation. I mean the Word document, right, without any stamps, but that is not right, and there is a very high chance that, well, tomorrow there would be a picky officer who would just say, you know what, it's not acceptable, and would not take this. If you're looking for our assistance with translations, we could recommend you our partners. We will leave their email address in the comment section below. You could just go to them. They are working with immigration specifically, and they will be able to help you with you are preparing documents for ATIU, for Ontario, or you're preparing them for any other province, or you're preparing them for the federal government. Or in other case, just prepare those documents back at home, but make sure that those requirements will comply to what is needed. Stay tuned with us, and if you got any more questions, feel free to ask them here.